If you're saving every single gem for Barry, you might actually be making one of the biggest mistakes in P5X. Before everyone clicks off, or if you specifically click off, no, I'm not saying that Barry is bad herself. In fact, she's one of the few characters I love the most. Instead, I'm saying that players are looking at these next three banners completely wrong, such as Barry, Blitz, and even Bui Prism. Everyone keeps asking which one is the strongest, and that's where a lot of people are getting a lot of things wrong. The real question isn't who's the strongest, but which one is really helping your account. So in today's video, I'm going to go ahead and break down each one of these units and exactly why so many players are saving incorrectly. If you guys are interested inside the video, be sure to sit back, relax, and enjoy. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, let's get straight into it. So starting with the biggest issue here. Players keep planning their banners based on tier lists, in which tier lists themselves don't exactly know your account. They don't know that you're free to play at the end of the day, and they don't know exactly what supports you have. Whether you're missing 8 elements, or whether you're trying to clear SOS and guild boss, or even whether you're just trying to play for general terms and use, this isn't something that tier lists can really know about you. So as a top tier unit, yes, it is pretty cool to have them, but it doesn't immediately make this just solve all your problems on your account. This is why I think a lot of people are saving absolutely wrong, especially when it comes down to so many players approaching the banners when they need to be approached a certain way. So for example, to at least get this started, Barry. One of the main reasons why a lot of people love this character is just mainly because the overall excitement around her. How she was presented inside of her trailer, how different the character really looked, and how sick that we had like a weapon that was such like a scythe that really made this character pop off. It also was expected to be the most powerful character, seeing that her herself is one of the more curse focused attackers that we don't really have many options for. Most of the other options that we have currently is just 4 stars and one of the few characters that's still a standard unit, being Joker himself. Not many curse units are inside of the game, which gives a lot of room for improvement. Barry did just this. With the pros that she ends up having with just high damage potential overall, the lack of overall curse DPSs, and then that she can absolutely deal amazing damage as a performance unit for different content was what made her absolutely nice. She also made herself very relevant, seeing that since there aren't many curse units and they're very uncommon to have, she was definitely a unit that many people. Though those are mainly just the pros, there are some cons with Barry herself in which many people do overlook. If your account itself already has a decent single target character, it's already sitting comfortable, so you don't really have to invest into this character. Alongside that, Barry herself at a low awareness amount doesn't truly change your account overall. There are some content that will require curse units, and although Joker doesn't deal the most single target curse damage, he can still be used in that aspect as well, which can still be somewhat decent. She also makes herself one of the stronger people in your roster, which you could see that as a pro, but as a con way, it could be honestly just too strong to a point you feel too comfortable and you don't invest properly. She doesn't fix any weak supports, and she doesn't really improve every last team. Although she helps out the curse side of things, it is only reliant on the curse side of things, and it's not a huge jump. Where this character is getting that big jump in power spike is being able to utilize her debuffs, which are coming from her skill 2. The skill 2 itself is going to allow you to go ahead and apply more of these debuffs on the enemy, meaning once they burst and actually deal more of their dot damage, that's where you're going to see a huge burst of DPS. Problem is, A0, you're able to get these stacks, but it is going to take you a little bit longer. Where you get most of these stacks and improve that ceiling of damage is usually going to be around A1 and A2, which allow her to at least exploit this a little bit more. You're going to see this a lot often with some of the future characters that we invest into, especially from this version upwards, seeing that these characters are going to make a huge just wave in some of the damage percentages. Just going ahead and checking out her A2, this one is allowing not only her obsession love stacks to be increased and actually maximize at 5 stacks, but is allowing her to deal 36% more crit damage, which her dot does take that crit damage as well. And whenever she is taking some fatal damage, she cannot die. She lives on 1 HP, and she's able to, of course, get more damage off. That's even better before she ends up fainting. The A2 is really going to allow you to take advantage over that And the A1 also does something like this as well, where she's going to decrease the foe's defense by 3% based on the resentment stacks. This is what's going to build you up a lot of that damage that you're going to obviously take advantage over based on the resentment stacks. Though once again, you do have to invest into this character a lot in order to do this. My verdict is, if you want to pull for Barry, especially in the next few banners, the next thing you got to take yourself and at least acknowledge yourself is, do you need a cursed carry? If you don't have any other ways of really going about a cursed carry, such as your Joker isn't highly invested into, or that you just feel like you do need her this way, then you would pull for the character. Or if you just enjoy the character and enjoy cursed teams, then you go ahead and pull. But other than that, I would say skip, mainly because everyone is saying she's just a must pull without noticing that the character herself does need a little bit of extra requirements. So do keep that in mind. Now we run over Barry, we're gonna go ahead and take a look at Blitz. Now let's talk about Blitz. Blitz is in the other direction of this, where she's one of the easier characters to play and understand, but she's also one of the easiest characters to misunderstand. And a lot of people are going for her thinking that she's just another electric debuff character that is gonna be pretty decent, but on the other side, she's one of the characters that does take a little bit more meaningful investment. And she's very helpful for downing, doing the down debuffs that you do need, pretty much helping out with enemies, even if she's not weak to them. But at the same time, it's a little bit harder because she doesn't really help if you can't down the enemy. Where she starts to have her problems is if the enemy can't be down, you're missing out on a lot of her debuffs. If obviously you're not dealing a lot of the damage that you need to be dealing, you're gonna have some problems. She's able to, of course, make it so she can deal damage herself. She can at least do some baseline help for herself, but she's not meant to be like a primary carry. She's not meant to be the strongest debuffer to a degree. She is technically out of the order, I guess you could say, on global. She will be the stronger debuffer, but seeing that debuffers themselves are in a very harsh spot, it is very hard to deal some respectable damage with having most debuffers inside of a team. Hence the reasons why we see a lot of teams having double buffers or having just buffers in general, why we don't see like the twins in them always on their debuffer side, because debuffers themselves are in a very hard predicament. Though if she is highly invested, that's where there is a huge difference. That's where she can now not only just contribute respectable damage to the team, amplify the team itself with the debuffs, but that's where she can start being a little bit of a selfish DPS and really enjoy the time period. Or later in the future where we have Fuka, that's where she can insanely be helpful. So the problems with this character, especially if you're looking to going for her, she does bring valuable electric down debuffs. This is something that's non-negotiable and automatically is something that is right. And she increases team damage a lot. That's something that she excels at. She makes your electric team significantly stronger. She is technically a very good character to have long term if you're playing like with Fuka, to make other characters more relevant, at least until Koromaru kind of stepped into the fray. She is able to help you out with boss consistency, your personal damage overall, and she's just a good, valuable character if you're looking for electric base content. That is where she excels the most. That is where she can easily work with her 4-star weapon. So she has her pros, but where things go wrong is where people don't look at the cons. Now, for your saving wrong, if your account does not have a strong electric core, aka technically Akihiko right now, well, you won't have any use for her, right? Blitz herself is not gonna automatically just transform your account to being absolutely worth it. Now, you can use her with Luce when he does come out, though that's gonna be very short-lived because Luce himself is gonna usually have Soy. That's before Soy does release. You can use her with like other DPSs such as Pinky and Bui, but both of those characters are usually going to have a different setup that are better to use than having her there. And I think the only one that really does like having her is probably Bui because of the down aspects, and that's more of the issue. The teams that she can go to are, yes, you could use this character, but it's not always going to be you should use this character, or that the character themselves, if we can take like Pinky for example, you could use Blitz there, but I would only use Blitz with her on the off chance if I'm looking for what's it called, more of a highly invested Blitz, right? She's not going to change your account so drastically that's going to make it better. She's not a plug and play unit. She's not a hyper carry that can absolutely help out all lower teams themselves, and her value is heavily dependent on the teammates that she has alongside of her to really capitalize off of her debuffs. So that's where this character is having more of its problem. When it comes to my verdict, especially on this character, if you're highly invested into electric teams, or if maybe you're going for Bui Prism, then you can go for the character. She could end up being one of your higher invested characters or higher value characters when you think about it in the long run. Let's say you're going for Fuka, you're going for Bui Prism, that type of stuff. She could be your character to really just keep you in the play. Though I say you want to skip this character because if you don't have the roster needed for electric investment, I think there's no real reason to go for this character who is so harshly wanting to be with an electric team. She can help out some other teams, but it is in a very interesting niche. Bullying her just because people are saying, hey, she's meta, is not going to be the best thing to go ahead and do, because everyone's eventually going to be having their meta area, right? They're always going to have their moment to shine. That's how the patches do work. That's not going to be always the case with some of these characters. As a debuffer with some of the past that we've seen, she is going to have her on periods and she's going to have her off periods where she's just not going to be all too great and where she is going to be fantastic. But that's just my verdict on this character. So we're going to go ahead and move on to our next one, being Prism Bui. All right, so getting straight to Prism Bui here, this is another character where I think a lot of people are oversimplifying how this character is, but she is not really that difficult to understand as well. She's actually an insanely strong character that is a very flashy DPS, but the way how she works is based on her AoE damage. Pretty much with her little knights that she has, and I'm going to call them knights, that she's able to summon. They go from eggplant, potato, mushroom, and asparagus. These are eventually going to allow you to deal insane damage numbers for all out attacks, while also being able to reduce down statuses themselves, which is another reason why I said Katayama is really good for her. Problem with this is you have to now know when you want to go ahead and use your AoEs in order to have your maximum amount of damage, which is where the oversimplifying things with her can come back to bite you. Although she does have some pros, such as like extremely high burst damage, she obviously can let you see high numbers, and this was like another peak in the single target DPS phase. She does have her mistakes with this, though she's still a strong choice because we haven't had a nuke unit since Makoto Nijima. So this is a huge step when we're comparing those two characters inside of their probable areas for weaknesses and elements, right? So this is a really good thing for her as a pro. She can become a centerpiece on carry teams as well. The only issue, once again, you have to build around her. You have to make sure that she's able to evolve from the AoE damage or the AoE damage that she can deal. So characters such as like Mitsuru later down the line, characters like Blitz, they're going to be her main bread and butter. You want to make sure she's able to get all of her AoE knights up, including Turbo too, because Turbo gives her the extra turns to do so, or has extra turns to go ahead and have some more fun with this, with the extra pin that you get too, meaning more damage. You take that time period and you just have to measure it properly with the buffs that she's giving you and her team is giving you to just deal some crazy damage. Problem, the cons, as I said before, is the massive damage offs and damage clips. If you cannot obviously get this burst DPS going, if you aren't paying attention to when to use her rotation, should you use this here, are you paying attention to her knights, that's where a lot of her burst DPS kind of can fall off. That is where you start to have issues, because you have to make sure you're keeping a good mindset on, is this where I'm able to get the maximum amount of damage? Do I have all my buffs in order? Do I have my debuffs in order? If you're able to do that, then you're perfectly fine. She will perform perfectly good. She has to be invested to some small extent, but needs to know exactly her rotation. If you got that down, this character is amazing, especially if you're missing things that you need on your account. And if she fits the bill of the things that we went over with the pros and the cons aren't outweighing your pros, this would be a character you want to go for just because she can help. Just keep in mind, if this isn't a character that your roster is benefiting from, or if this is not a character that you personally like or just like the team of, you might want to skip the unit, mainly because we do have other STs coming out. We do know that there is going to be the global simultaneous release again later down the line with FemC, who could end up being single target depending on her element, but most likely it's probably going to be AoE. Let's be honest here. So it just depends on what is going down. My verdict for Bui Prism herself is she is actually really strong. She's a strong damage dealer. And honestly, if you aren't pulling just because of showcase clips, if you're pulling that, okay, can my account actually unlock the full potential of this unit? If it's a yes, you pull. Amazing pickup. She honestly doesn't have many downsides, unlike some of the other characters. She has a huge upside, but if you don't need this character, or if you feel like you can't unlock the full potential of this character, don't go for it. Let the gems go elsewhere, invest into a supporter, have some more fun with something else, and that would be the best decision. Either way, I'd say all of these characters that we talked about today is, instead of asking yourself or trying to go off of a tier list, start asking what is better for your account, what is stronger, and that is how you're going to come up with your savings and figuring out exactly what works out the best. Hope you guys did enjoy this video, and until next time, everybody, stay safe, stay sharp. Peace out.